Hello. So today we're going to be talking about pedigree charts. So first thing, a pedigree chart is like a family tree that spans over several generations of genetics. Here we have an example of a pedigree chart. Down at the bottom, it tells you what the symbols in the chart represent. But right now, I want us to look at the chart and make sure we know how to follow it. So if we start at the top of the pedigree chart, this will be the first generation of this family. This square here will be the man. The man has a wife represented by this circle. There's a line connecting them, and if you follow it down, it shows us they have one child. This child is represented by a circle, so that tells us it is a female. The daughter meets a man, and with all their love, they have a bunch of children. If you're following along, you'll see that only one of the children ended up meeting someone and carrying on the family tree of genetics. So you get the gist of the pedigree chart, but now I bet you're wondering, what could this be used for? Well, if a couple wants to know their chances of having a child with muscular dystrophy, a scientist would find out who all has muscular dystrophy in the mother and the father's families. This information would then be used to calculate the probability of the couple having a child with muscular dystrophy. This would be helpful for the parents to then, discuss if there's a high probability, and maybe they decide it's best if they don't have children, they adopt or something. All right, so let's now go back to the symbols I mentioned earlier in the pedigree chart. It is important that you guys learn these so you can properly interpret a pedigree chart. Circles will always represent a female family member. Squares will represent the males in the family. Some other symbols to be aware of are the lines and how they connect to shapes. These lines represent relationships between people. So the line in the first example, connecting the two shapes in the middle, lets us know that these two members are married and not blood related. The second example, we have the mom and dad, and we can tell this because of the line connecting them, right there in the middle there. We then follow that line down, and then we see that these three shapes are related by the line above them connecting all three. More examples of symbols for offspring that are fraternal or identical twins. So you can see the line there. Here we have some more symbols for the different kind of male and female family members. So those affected by the trait would be a black filled in shape. The X-linked carrier you see is only for the woman, so the males don't get a symbol for that. The unaffected carriers have a line going up and down the center of the shape. And then those family members that are now deceased or dead have a diagonal line going through the shape. Now we're going to talk about interpreting a pedigree chart. There's two steps to doing that. And so the first one is to figure out if the disorder is X-linked. Most of the males will have this disorder because the Y chromosome cannot mask the effects of an affected X chromosome. So in autosomal disorder, the disorder is found on the X or Y chromosomes, so men and women have an equal chance of having the disorder. So basically, if more males have it, it is X-linked. If it's both equal ratio men and women in the family have it, then it'll be autosomal. So let's try this little example here, if you will try to answer this with me. So we have a pedigree chart here. The family members affected by the trait are colored in black. So is the trait autosomal or X-linked? So let's think about it. Make sure you count the number of men that are affected and the number of women that are affected with this disorder. If you guys remember, like I just said, autosomal means that more men, autosomal would be if they're even, and then if more men are affected, then it would be X-linked. All right, so the answer is going to be autosomal because it is 50-50 with men and women. It runs in the family equally with men and women, so it'd be autosomal. All right, the second step in interpreting a pedigree chart would be to determine if the disorder is dominant or recessive. So we look at this chart here. Remember, if a parent in every generation, so it is dominant. It's dominant because a parent in every generation has a disorder. Remember, if a parent in every generation has a disorder, the disorder is dominant. All right, and that's going to be it. I'm going to run through this last one here. Make sure you have this summary, and you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.